Famous horror writer Stephen King once said, "Fiction is a lie, and good fiction is the truth inside the lie." This quote means that although fiction is made up, it conveys and delivers truth through the medium of a lie. Fiction is one of the most powerful ways to express truth because it allows us to explore ideas and realities that might be hidden, uncomfortable, or even difficult to confront directly. As humans, we have an instinctive sense that not everything we're told about our world, like our history or our identity, is completely or entirely accurate. Fiction gives us the freedom to question those narratives, to imagine alternative possibilities. In the fictional anime show One Piece, the Void Century is a 100-year gap in history that the world government has erased and forbidden anyone from studying. Clues to this lost era are hidden in ancient stone tablets called poneglyphs, which reveal the truth about a powerful lost civilization known as the Ancient Kingdom. Uncovering the secrets of the Void Century is key to understanding the fall of the kingdom and the true origins of the world's current power structure. The fictional concept of the Void Century in One Piece can be intriguingly paralleled with the biblical event of the loosing of Satan, raising the possibility that such an event may have occurred in our not-so-distant past. In the Bible, the loosing of Satan is a prophetic event described in Revelation 20, where Satan is bound for 1,000 years during the millennial reign of Christ, a period of peace in which he is restrained from deceiving the nations. After this time, he is released for a short season, during which he is once again permitted to deceive the nations before his final defeat. This comparison suggests that just as the truth of the Void Century is hidden and forbidden in One Piece, the full understanding of humanity's spiritual and historical past may also be veiled, hinting at a deeper narrative just outside the bounds of the history we are given. St. Augustine of Hippo, one of the most influential church fathers and theologians of the early church, offers profound insight in his work, The City of God, particularly in chapter 8 of book 20, where he reflects on the binding and loosing of the devil. Augustine explains that, at the inception of the church, Satan and his fallen angels were bound, an event marking the beginning of the Christian era. This binding occurred during what could be called the Battle of Armageddon, when Satan and his angels, who had long deceived humanity by masquerading as false gods, were imprisoned for 1,000 years. This divine restraint is seen as the key to the unprecedented spread of Christianity during antiquity. With the forces of deception temporarily removed from the earth, the nations were no longer led astray by the pantheon of false gods, and the true King of Kings, Jesus Christ, was revealed to the world. This period of clarity and divine intervention allowed Christianity to flourish, as humanity, freed from the influence of these dark powers, embraced the light of truth, and the faith rapidly expanded to become the dominant force across the earth at that time. The City of God, Book 20, Chapter 8, of the binding and loosing of the devil. Now the devil was thus bound not only when the church began, to be more and more widely extended among the nations beyond Judea, but is now and shall be bound till the end of the world, when he is to be loosed, because even now men are, and doubtless to the end of the world shall be, converted to the faith from the unbelief in which he held them. In the same chapter, St. Augustine also indicates that, while the church was living in what he considered the millennial reign of Christ, a time would come when Satan would be loosed, for a brief but intense period of 3 years and 6 months. He is not suggesting that this little season would only last 3.5 years, but rather that during this time, Satan would unleash his full fury for the duration, 3.5 years of unrestrained rage, with his fallen angels at his side, deceiving the nations and sowing chaos across the earth. City of God, Book 20, Chapter 8, of the binding and loosing of the devil. But when the short time comes, he shall be loosed, for he shall rage with the whole force of himself and his angels for 3 years and 6 months. For these 3.5 years, Satan would work through his ministers to radically disrupt the established world. One of his key tactics would be distorting history by stretching out the timeline, obscuring the true sequence of events. By manipulating the historical record, he would blur the line of the timeline, creating confusion about the events that transpired during this period. This would include the destruction of cities and structures, such as the devastating fires in major cities across the world, and the bizarre, often contradictory narratives about their origins. In this distorted timeline, the truth would be buried, making it difficult to distinguish between what actually happened and the false stories constructed to further Satan's deception. Along with this, he would corrupt those who had once lived peacefully under Christ's reign and incite wars, all while clouding the historical memory of these events to serve his purpose. Additionally, Satan's influence would lead to a kind of mass spiritual amnesia, erasing the memory of the old world. And those who still remembered the golden age of Christ were put into insane asylums under the reasoning of religious delusions. In an article written by the Greensboro Patriot on April 2, 1845, titled "The Treatment of Lunatics," there is a curious brief paragraph discussing the beliefs of lunatics in insane asylums. It states that they believed they once wandered freely in the world, at one point believing they were saints, or partakers of something divine in their lives. Lunatics had their golden age, before laws were made, when they wandered forth at large, and were revered as saints, or as partaking of something holy or divine. But with laws and civilization, their Iron Age began. This period would give rise to a new generation of orphans, born out of the devastation of the old world, who would inherit a world reshaped by deception, with a new narrative and history crafted by Satan's lies. The day of his loosing would have also potentially caused natural disasters, like mass earthquakes across the world, potentially causing many old world buildings to sink below ground level, and cosmic anomalies in the skies such as the Carrington event, which was one of the largest solar storms ever recorded in history, that supposedly occurred in September 1859. The Baltimore American and Commercial Advertiser reported on this event and stated that those who happened to be out late on Thursday night had an opportunity of witnessing another magnificent display of the auroral lights. This phenomena was very similar to the display on Sunday night, though at times the light was, if possible, more brilliant, and the prismatic hues more varied and gorgeous. The light appeared to cover the whole firmament, apparently like a luminous cloud, through which the stars of the larger magnitude indistinctly shone. The light was greater than that of the moon at its full, but had an indescribable softness and delicacy that seemed to envelop everything upon which it rested. Between 12 and 1 o'clock, when the display was at its full brilliancy, the quiet streets of the city, resting under this strange light, presented a beautiful as well as singular appearance. If a similar event occurred today, it would be catastrophic, disrupting communications and causing significant damage to our technology. During the Carrington event, people were understandably startled by the unprecedented auroral displays and telegraph disruptions, leading some to believe it signaled the end of the world. Perhaps those who believed it to be a sign or a dark omen of the end were right. This was the day Satan was unshackled, unleashed for his brief season. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for your patience. I have been very busy with work, and so it's been kind of tough finding time and energy to make videos. But I truly do miss and love talking about these topics and even discussing it with you guys and getting insight. It brings the Bible to life and gets us thinking about where we are, who we are, what we are. I would love to know your guys' honest thoughts or further speculations on this idea, when Satan was loosed, what it looked like, if we have any further evidence for it. If you enjoyed this video and would like to support this channel, I do have a Patreon. Patreon and the content on Patreon is actually free to join for anyone. Sometimes I post articles here and there and other short form content. I also did recently publish a book on Amazon called Soul in the Belly. If you want to check out the book, you can read the preface on Amazon to see what it's about. The link for both of those will be in the bio. Again, thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment your thoughts. Thank you. Till next time.